Strange historical events that shock everyone. Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, we will talk about strange historical events that shock everyone. However, before we start our countdown, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. So let's get started. Number 10, 1943. The first wagon crossed the Oregon Trail the same year the fax machine was invented. You might think you're hearing that wrong, but you're not. The Great Migration of 1843. This was when 1,000 immigrants went to Oregon on the wagon train on the Oregon Trail. The same year, on May 27, 1843, a Scottish inventor named Alexander Wagon received the patent for his invention, the electric printing telegraph. This is the grandfather of the modern fax machine that we know today. So while people were traveling to Oregon to begin a new life somewhere else in the world, a man was taking a huge step towards new technology. Number 9, 2660 BC. The Egyptians were building pyramids while the woolly mammoth was still living. The Great Pyramids located in Egypt were being built from 2667 to 2648 BC. At the same time, there was still a small population of woolly mammoths still alive. They were living on Wrangel Island, which is an island about the size of Dell. The island is located about 90 miles off the coast of Siberia. It's a good thing that the last of the woolly mammoths weren't living in Egypt at the time. If they were, the pyramids may never have been built due to the danger that these huge creatures possibly could have brought. Number 8, 1868. You could take the London Underground to watch the last public hanging in the. Today, if you want to watch an execution, you have to be invited under very special circumstances. This was not always the case in the UK. Up until May 26, 1868, you could watch executions. The last one was the public hanging of Michael Barrett. He was hung outside of Newgate Prison in London in front of about 2,000. In 1865, the Barbin London Underground Station was built near Aldersgate Street. It's actually only a 10-minute walk from the Newgate Prison. Chances are that one of the 2,000 people in attendance actually took the underground train to watch the execution. Number 7, 1940. Many prisoners arrived at Auschwitz a few days after McDonald's was. Many people believe that McDonald's first opened its doors after World War I. This is because the chain didn't really take off until the war was over. The founders of the fast food chain, Richard and Maurice McDonald, opened their first restaurant on May 15, 1940, and it was located in San Bernardino, California. It was just 5 days after the opening of the restaurant that the very first group of concentration camp prisoners arrived at Auschwitz. This was a wonderful time in history for those who love a McDonald's cheeseburger, and a terrible time for the prisoners. Number 6, 1908. The Ottoman Empire existed the same year. The Chicago Cubs won the World Series in 2016. The Chicago Cubs shocked the world when they finally won the World Series for the first time since 1908. When they won in 1900, it was just 10 years before World War I when the Ottomans were defeated. This would mean that the 1908 win from the Cubs was older than Turkey. After that win in 1908, the Cubs went to the World Series 7 times before 2016. The last time they made it was in 1945. Number 5, 1889. The Nintendo was founded before Jack the Ripper was. Many people believe that Nintendo is a relatively new company. When the Nintendo gaming system was released, Nintendo's popularity exploded. The Japanese gaming company was actually founded September 23, 1889. Their first item was obviously not a video game. It was actually a deck of handmade playing cards called Hanafauna at the time, just a few weeks after Nintendo was. People believed that Jack the Ripper was still on the loose. They thought this because an unidentified woman was found and she was called the Pension Street Torso. This is because she was found on Pension Street and police only found her torso. The rest of her body never surfaced. Number 4, 1977. Star Wars came out the same year. France had its last guillotine execute. For years, France used the guillotine to execute the most horrible criminals. The last person to be killed this way was the pimp killer Jean Duby. He was beheaded on September 10, 1977 for torturing and murdering a 21-year-old girl. Nobody has been executed again after that. And François Miron abolished the guillotine in 1981, around the same time as the last execution. Children in the United States were lining up to see the first installment of Star Wars. Number 3, 1971. Women in Switzerland received the right to vote. The same year the United States drove a buggy on them. Like many countries in the world, women in Switzerland weren't always allowed to vote. It just took Switzerland much longer than most countries to allow this. They started allowing women to vote 51 years after the United States allowed it, and 65 years after Finland. It was the same time that women and Switzerland were finally allowed to line up at the polls that United States astronauts were riding around on the moon in the moon. It was men driving the buggy, but it was a huge step for women in Switzerland. Number 2, 1975. Microsoft was founded and Spain was under a fascist dictatorship. In April 1975, friends Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft, which made them more money than they had ever. At the same time, things in Spain weren't going so well. The fascist dictator named Francisco Franco was presiding over Spain using terror and brainwashing by controlling the media and the state education system. Other countries, such as Italy and Germany, ended their fascist politics after World War I. But Spain didn't follow suit. It wasn't until people started having Microsoft computers in their homes that the fascist regime. Number 1, 1876. The Brooklyn Bridge was being built at the same time as the Battle of Little Bighorn. This is one of the craziest historical events you won't believe happened at the same time in one part of America. Laborers were working hard to build the Brooklyn Bridge, which was the first ever steel wire suspension. At the same time in the eastern Montana Territory, the Battle of Little Bighorn was being fought. The bridge was still 6 years away from being finished when General Custer and his men were defeated by a crazy horse and members of their Arapaho, the Lakota, and the Northern Cheyenne tribes. Two completely different events were taking place at the same time in different areas of the country. So this was our today's video. I hope you all liked this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. And also share it with your friends and family. We will be back soon with a new video. Till then, keep supporting and take care.